Now this will tell us. And that's pretty conclusive. Still going. Close. I think he got it down.
How strong is he?
Welcome back to another week of the Pick and Go podcast, punters. Very fired up for another huge week of footy coming up, and very pleased to be welcoming back from Dad Duty, Richard Laddie. Richard, have you managed to see much of your kids between all the footy over the last couple of weeks?
Oh, it's been a tough juggling act, but managed to give them a bit of time, take them down to the shop and, just readjusting to life with watching sport and having kids in life.
For sure. Another big in for the pod this week. Very pleased to welcome back Matthew Fisk, who's managed to get back from the pub and join his freedom in Sydney, but glad to have you on here to no doubt steam into a few more underdogs this week, Fisky.
Thanks, Patrick. And I've got to say, congrats, Rich. A newborn. I've been lucky enough to have 3 kids myself, but nothing filled me with more joy than the pubs opening in Sydney on Monday. We called it Freedom Day, and we sure made the most of it. So it's good to be sort of getting back to normal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's good to see that. I'm about 45 minutes away, or however long this takes from getting to the pub myself, so can certainly not going to begrudge you guys also heading along. Might as well dive right into it. I think there's a very clear starting point for us to talk about this week, right? We had a great Shield challenge on Saturday afternoon up in the Bay. Hawke's Bay came flying out of the blocks and then barely held on against Tasman, but did get the job done, put the Shield back in the cabinet for at least another couple of weeks. Fisky, you said you were on the plus when you messaged me before the show last week. Were you expecting that sort of start from the Magpies, though?
Oh, it was a brilliant game. It was a strange game. I thought they were gone pretty much halfway through. Tasman were just getting on top and just seemed to have the better of it. And Hawke's Bay just kept finding something. I think their cohesion close to the line, just getting points when they're pretty much every time they get down into the 20, they come back with points. And that ended up being the difference. I don't know if they were necessarily the better side for 80, but they took advantage, jumped out of the blocks, had that scoreboard pressure for most of the match, and brilliant game. But they're beatable. I thought they were ready to go, and Tasman couldn't just get the job done.
Yeah, big thing for me from Tasman was certainly that lack of execution in the red zone. Sort of, I think about that second half where they were 2 separate times hot on Hawke's Bay's line, just hammering away, but couldn't get over, and then Hawke's Bay get the big breakdown penalty and can clear the lines. That for me was sort of whereas Hawke's Bay certainly took all their opportunities, you couldn't fault their ruthlessness with ball in hand. Rissi, I believe the game cost you a tikka masala, though. You were on the other side of the result from Fisky. Where did it go wrong for the Mako for you?
Yeah, they just you sort of alluded to it there. They just couldn't take their chances. They were hot on attack a lot. I mean, obviously, it doesn't help when you go down sort of whatever it was, 12-3 for 15 minutes. I actually missed the first 15 minutes of the game. I think it was when I turned it on. It was 12-3 down, and yeah, as we know, I was on the Mako, so it was a bit disappointing. But yeah, sort of as the game wore on, I sort of thought, could be in here, but no, they just couldn't quite take those chances, and they held on. I think they only scored 1 try in the end, so there was like 5 or 6 penalties that sort of kept them in the game. But fortunately, it wasn't to be. I mean, the way that Hawke's Bay were throwing the ball around in that first half was beautiful to watch. You like to see it. Some of those tries, the offloads, everywhere. And they kind of didn't have any answer to that, and they just couldn't quite do enough in the end. I suppose it was a 12-point loss in the end, wasn't it? So.
Yeah, it was certainly, I don't know, it feels like while it was a 12-point loss, it's one of those games, right? Like 1 or 2 things go the other way. A couple of those offloads don't go to hand for Hawke's Bay in the first 15 minutes, and they're not out to that massive lead. They maybe don't hold on, but yeah, I guess it's one of those things. Hawke's Bay, you'd have to say, Fisky, certainly they've got that belief and that togetherness about them that these sort of teams, especially in the Shield campaign, seem to have more often than not, right?
Yeah, with credit to our loyal warrior, Paul Mawadi. He's got that belief in them, and they've got that belief in themselves. Like, you just feel like at home they win. It's just as simple as that. Won't be like that forever. Ash Dixon's heading off at the end of the season. But for now, just ride it and enjoy it, because they are a safe bet. They're so reliable at home.
And now getting that win over Tasman, not only does it lock up the Shield for a few more weeks, but it's moved them to the top of the Premiership ladder with Taranaki obviously in the Championship. Means there's a good chance if these two teams do meet again in the knockout stages, it's going to be back at McLean Park. Risie, does this make Hawke's Bay potentially Championship favourites for you now that we do know we're going to get a final and everything?
Yeah, I wouldn't have them as favourites myself. I mean, they're obviously top of the table, playing good. If they can hold on to that first position and stay playing at home, as Fisky alluded to just there, they look pretty unbeatable at home. Whether that's the Shield factor coming into it, they probably haven't been at their best, but I've probably still got Tasman on top, I think, for this. But yeah, at the moment. But yeah, as I said, if Hawke's Bay can sort of just hold on to that lead at the top of the Premiership and have the home sort of semi and final, then we'll see what happens.
It's certainly going to take a brave man to get bet against them at McLean Park anytime soon. Fisky, would you be backing the Magpie to lift the other trophy this season, or are you looking somewhere else in that market once we do get back up?
Yeah, I'm with Risie here. Like, I know it's a different code, but in the UK they always talk about the Challenge Cup, which goes for 3/4 of the season and culminates at Wembley. Then you've got to back up for Super League tilt, and it's very rare that teams will do both. And I think after St Helens won the other night, they said we just felt our season, we were just exhausted after the Challenge Cup, and it's really hard to lift yourself back up. I think Hawke's Bay are putting everything into holding the Shield, and every second week it drains you. I don't know if they'll have a lot left in the tank for the finals, depending on where they're all played, of course. But yeah, I might be looking elsewhere there.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll move on from that because still a lot of footy to be played between now and finals time. But two championship teams I certainly won't be backing to win anything after what I saw on Friday night, Wellington and Canterbury. I don't know if this was more peak Wellington or peak Canterbury in different moments from what we've seen from the last couple of seasons. Wellington flying out to another massive lead, then knocking off, heading down to Alahorno to see Paul Mawadi, letting Canterbury come back into the game. It's a bit all over the place, but a lot of good rugby and talented footy players on display. Dane Cole, Sam Whitelock, Peter Irving and Jensen all getting amongst the action, if nothing else. Fisky, did you have any key takeaways from the game other than just good game of footy?
It was a great game of footy. It was a brilliant game of footy, and it was a bit of touch involved, you score, we score, but Umaga Jensen at the moment, he is untouchable. Like, he's beating the first man every time, and the more they get the ball in his hands, the better they look. So there's a couple of really good backs, and they're not really putting it together for 80, but it was good to actually see them win, and they finished well. It was okay. Yeah, it wasn't a classical battle, but I loved it. I thought it was a top game of footy.
Oh, yeah, it was great entertainment. I don't know if you managed to see all of the game in between dinners and whatnot, Rissie, but I'm not quite sure. Are you still a Canterbury loyalist in this particular competition? How did you feel about that?
Still support Canterbury in the NPC, but I obviously have a soft spot for Wellington. Yeah, I mean, it was just an entertaining game of footy. I mean, what was it, 65 points scored in the end, and some brilliant tries. You thought they ran away 17-0. You thought Wellington had run away with it. Canterbury came back. I mean, Canterbury looked like they were cruising, and then it wasn't until that last 10 minutes where sort of Wellington started putting that pressure on, and they just hammered the line. They got that first try, and then what a redemption from Alex Fido, the prop who scored that try at the end. He was the guy who got sent off, and when Canterbury scored those two tries at the start of the second half. So yeah, it was entertaining. I was on Canterbury 1-12 with my bonus back bet, so I was feeling pretty comfortable with 10 minutes to go. But yeah, kudos to Wellington. They really pounded the line there, and then I think as soon as they scored that try, Canterbury still had the man off. They always had the momentum coming into that extra time, and really didn't look like losing it, did they?
No, yeah. With Romano in the bin for the extra 10 minutes, it certainly gives. Well, because to be honest, I forgot that they were going to go to extra time again. I was watching that last 10 minutes when Wellington were battering on the line, and I saw Romano get bin, and I was like, oh, that probably makes sense. Like, at the very least, you're going to go draw here, make them score out wide, and then, oh no, you've got to defend for 14 minutes in extra time. So But yeah,
Justin Marshall was really confused about the role. He's like, why is Romano not coming on? Oh, didn't think there'd be the role, you know. So,
yeah, well, some of these roles, we'll get on to 50-22s later, but it seems like no one has any idea what is going on with that role in particular. It's an absolute lottery. But you could have given me, I think, 20s on Wellington when Burt kicked that penalty to put them down 7 with about 10 minutes to go. Just the way
that was crazy.
So it's got to be promising for Wellington, if nothing else, to see them fight back in the last 10 minutes and actually dig in and secure a result. Another team who did dig in and did just enough to get a result. Maybe not at their best with Taranaki down under the roof in Otago. Probably didn't really blow anyone away, but I suppose to go down against probably one of the stronger championship teams and get 4 points can't be sniffed at, right, Fisky?
It was a clinical win. They always were in control, and I know Otago plus covered, which I was on by the barest of margins, so I was happy, but I was on Otago and I never felt comfortable. I never thought they were in the game really, and despite the scoreboard, and I think Taranaki probably played within themselves. They just were in total control, and it was a mature performance. I think they're actually it's not just belief and it's not just talent. I think they're now forming quite a good side, and I just didn't think it was an exciting game. I thought Otago number 10, he's battling at the moment. Ioane, I don't think he's at that level we kind of think he should be at, and he was shown up by Taranaki backline and the Taranaki playmakers and the pack. I thought it was just a complete performance.
Yeah, sure. I think it's a sign of a good team, right, when you can win games like that without really getting out of second or third gear on the road. So coming into the business end of the season, Taranaki, when they're probably getting more games back at Inglewood, have to be feeling pretty good about how they're looking there. I'll get your guys' thoughts on the last game of the round because I'm probably not the best man to be asking. I was yelling a lot and jumping up and down and all sorts of stuff in the first 45 minutes at least of Manawatu's pretty comfortable scoreline-wise, but not comfortable gameplay-wise win down in Invercargill. Richard, did you think Southland were home sort of in that first half and they rushed out to the early lead? Must have been.
Yeah, you got to feel for Southland. They looked good. They looked comfortable. They're sort of searching for that first win of the season still. From the home crowd, they were up. I can't remember what the score was, but they looked comfortable. I mean, Marty Banks was sort of had a few nice touches, and he was kicking some big penalties as well. I was impressed with his accuracy there. But yeah, I mean, you'd have to say that it was at the halftime. It was sort of Southland's game to lose, but they just couldn't hold on, and the Turbos just sort of looked to want it more in the second half.
I think just the big thing for Manawatu was they had those guys who are another level to South. Brett Cameron and Braden Yosa in particular stood up in the second half without Aaron Smith there to really drag the team around like he had been the last few weeks. And Braden Yosa in particular, there was that play off the back of the scrum where he took the ball about 45 metres on himself, gave the winger a show and go, and then threw the ridiculous offload inside, and it leads to Ed Feeder scoring in the other corner. But that was really what turned the momentum of the game. Did you any other notes or takeaways from this one, Fisky?
Two things. I think I actually felt all along like with the bench, Southland's got a really, really weak bench. The depth's not there, so I kind of felt like last 20 they're always gonna battle, and they need to be either in with a big lead or, more importantly, with weather on their side. And I think that's kind of what cost them. You play that game again, and the way they dominated the start, and it's sort of tough conditions, they would hold on. 9 times out of 10. I think it was such a beautiful day down there. Suited running rugby, and there's only so many points they've got in them. So conditions suited Manawatu down to the ground.
That's pretty much sums us up for the past round of the NPC. But since then, obviously New Zealand Rugby have confirmed the schedule for the remainder of the season. We're going to have, I think it's 4 more weeks of footy before we get semi-finals and finals. Normal procedure to crown a champion in both the Premiership and the Championship. But they have said we're not going to be having any promotion and relegation, given the Auckland teams aren't able to fulfil their commitments. Obviously, Auckland, the only team who would have been avoiding that danger in the Premiership, of going down. Risie, were you thinking this is the right call by New Zealand Rugby?
Regarding just no relegation.
No promotion.
I mean,
relegation.
I think so. I mean, Auckland probably wouldn't have found themselves down there, but you never know what's going to happen. But it probably just, I don't know, it does take a little bit of excitement off the rest of the competition. But yeah, in saying that, I mean, you look at the sort of 6 teams there, and it's still pretty tight. Like, I mean, there was probably 3, when you look at the table at the moment, there's 3 teams that could have been at risk, and they had plenty, Wellington and Canterbury. So yeah, I mean, it's probably the right thing to do. I mean, just with the team out, but yeah, as I said, it sort of will take a bit of excitement away, and maybe not as much to play for some of the lower teams as we get to the 4 or 5 rounds time. But hopefully by then it would still be close, and all the teams will still be in for a shot at the finals.
I'm surprised we don't have Neil Barnes on the podcast this week. I thought
I'm about to repeat a lot of what he just said. But
I thought he spoke eloquently, and I thought he spoke from the heart, and I tended to agree with him. I think it's a slap in the face for sides like Taranaki that have worked so hard and deserve everything that could have come to them if they were pushed up. And you say the same about Manawatu. Like, they showed they can do it without Smith as well. So I know it's not perfect, but I actually like his idea, like long term, of seeding every team, dividing them in 2, where there's just odds and even numbers, and just playing the tournament. Like, let's face it, teams are playing each other, and it doesn't really matter what division they're in. It's an exciting tournament. You split up, make it one tournament in 2 divisions, say, and east and west, north and south, whatever you call it, and then you have a final series from there, and that's it. It takes away this promotion relegation. If you have a year where teams can't compete, well, so be it. It still makes it exciting comp.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't think it was all the right call. The thing I just keep going back to is Taranaki, who I'd like, it might come off as I think Manawatu had a chance to get promoted. Let me be very clear. Taranaki, probably the best team in the whole country this season. I think they were going to walk to the championship victory. So for me, it's really them. And two out of the last 3 weeks, they've put 27 on Bay of Plenty and beat Wellington pretty comfortably as well. So it's not like the 2 teams who are in probably the gravest danger of relegation have an argument to say that they're better than the team that would have been coming up in their place, I'd say. But I really like the idea of just splitting up north v south. For me, the thing that makes this NBC great is those regional rivalries. That would be pretty even sort of level of competition, right? You'd have Otago, Canterbury, Wellington, a few of the sort of Tasman now traditional powerhouse in the south with Manawatu, Hawke's Bay, get those regional rivalries, then get all the northern teams, your Waikatos, your Aucklands, your counties together in the north and sort of play semis and finals through quarters and semis through there and then meet in a final. But yeah, I don't know, it's just an idea.
So what's the fear? What's the fear of making a combined comp? Are they worried that Southland will be playing Auckland? And what's the issue?
Southland play Auckland anyway.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I think they like having the 2 finals to promote, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
just sort of the idea hasn't really gone exploded like they would have hoped to. The whole premiership, championship has it. They sort of obviously we've seen it work with other sports overseas, but the competition's probably doesn't. It's not a support factor, but I don't know. It's just the way the New Zealanders like to, watch their sporting competitions. It just complicates things.
Especially when you're sort of playing teams from the other divisions anyway, so it's not a complete split. And I think another shame of it tends to be year teams who have a really good run. Think back to Hawke's Bay last year, not that they've dropped off this year, but they still had Whakatava, probably maybe a slightly better team last year than they were this year. I think back to the really good Manawatu team from 2014 that had sort of Milne Scudder at his peak. These teams, Bay of Plenty from a couple of years ago, another good example. These teams, they sort of peak in that year in the championship that gets them promoted, and then they probably lose a couple of guys to All Blacks duty the year after, because that's invariably what happens. You have good players in the NPC, they get called up to the high level, and you're not at the same team the next year. So you can't really push for that top trophy, which is what everyone's really chasing. So when these teams do catch lightning in a bottle, if they're down in the championship, they don't fully get that chance to grasp it.
With combined comp, you catch lightning and you can win the whole thing.
Like as he said last week, he reckons Hawke's Bay would have given Tasman a run for their money last year in the final. It's pretty hard to argue with them. The level Hawke's Bay were rolling off those results late in last season.
Yeah, that's right. And look, we're good in New Zealand at manufacturing competitions, or whatever you want to call it. Like, even if they got to the point where, okay, Taranaki and Manawatu have had great years. Let's pick the two. Let's get a team of respected All Blacks gentlemen or women that have been around for years. They can pick the two worst performing premiership teams and have some sort of playoff. Loser goes down and the winner goes up. Have like a 4-way playoff of some sort. Like, don't just give up on it because of the year we've had.
Yeah, no, it's just a bit of a shit. I mean, yeah, there's obviously a lot worse things going on in this situation. So, yeah, Taranaki not getting to play for the premiership next year is not top of the list. But I just like to complain about things, so I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think it's a cop out. I think they could have done that. Got some elders to say, right, we're making a call here. In our mind, Wellington and Bay have plenty the biggest underperformers. Taranaki and Manawatu are in the final of the championship. You're both going to play off, and if you lose both games, whatever, you're down, and just that's it. And Wellington may come out and win it, right, and stay up, but at least give Taranaki and Manawatu a chance of knocking them off in a game that means something.
Yeah, and if the way Taranaki have been playing so far this year, I would think you'd match them up against the Lions or the Steamers again, and it probably wouldn't have gone so well for those premiership sides. But let's move on. But we're going to move even down the division further now, because I think, anytime you get the captain of the All Blacks running out of Owen Delaney Park against Whanganui, you got to give it a shout out. It was good work by Sky Sport. I got to commend them for getting the game on Sky Sport 2 on Saturday afternoon, so I could ride home my Whanganui minus 14.5 bet, as good as it was to see Sam in King Country colours. I think that was a lot of fun. Fisky, did you get to see that game from your side of the Tasman as well?
Followed it online. I couldn't believe a team were that short against Sam Cane, Kings Country. I don't know the squads at all. Like, it's taken me a few years to get my head around NPC, and I love it. But don't know anything about Whanganui, but sounds like they're pretty handy. Yeah,
they've got quite a good recruitment. They've got a bit of a pipeline out of Fiji, it seems like. They tend to, the number 8 in particular, I didn't see him play all season. He really caught my eye. He was a good ball runner. But I think the issue for King Country was they had a few guys who fell north of the level 3 cutoff who had to be on the farms to take care of the sheep and the calves by the sound of things. So they were actually down a few men outside of Sammy Cane. Great. But huge crowd at Owen Delaney, it looked like. Did you get a chance to see the game as well, Rissy?
Nah, not gonna lie. Saw a few highlights here and there. Yeah, it's just, I mean, you love to see it, eh? I've got a bit of a soft spot for the old the Heartland, and yeah, I mean, it was great for it. And yeah, the fact, as you say, it was kudos to Sky Sport putting it on. There was obviously plenty of interest. Everyone wanted to see it. And it would have been a special moment for some of those King Country and Whanganui boys who played in that game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I think there was a. Sorry, you go, Fisky.
No, I was just going to say I might digress. I think you're about to give us a nice little story about the party times there, Pat, but I was just going to digress onto what else is happening in rugby around the world. Is now a good time?
Yeah, absolutely. I think around the world with Fisky sounds like a great new segment for the
around the world. No, I was all over it last week. So I love my World Cups, and South American sides had a great weekend last weekend. So Uruguay took on USA in a home and away series. Split at 1-1, but 1 on 4 and against with the final match in Montevideo. So USA now have to go into a third round of qualifying to make the World Cup. There was also at the same time Chile played Canada home and away, and Chile, I think they'll take on USA. Canada are gone, cannot make the 2023 World Cup. There is some meaning to all this. So USA now have to stay at the top of their game, and they'll be playing, of course, the All Blacks on Saturday week in Chicago. So I think it's danger time for USA. They lose that qualifying series against Chile, they won't be in the World Cup either, and it'll be the Americas will be taken up by 3 South American sides and no North American. So kind of a change of the power dynamic over there.
Good to see the South Americans getting a bit of a moment in the sun. I do wonder, it's probably not related at all, but the Juarez and the success they had in Super Rugby the last few years and the sort of extra platform Argentinian rugby's had in the Rugby Championship, if that has had any effect on it or not. Obviously, not my area of expertise.
Yeah, the Chile-Argentina rivalry would have to help. Chile's sort of rising to rising to power. It's a great rivalry. I remember being in Chile. It was for a football match. It was when the Argentina won Chile won the Copa America against Argentina, and the scenes. And they don't like each other very much. So I'm sure it's a good, healthy rivalry.
Yeah, it would, and it would roll into the rugby field. And I think they'll be outsiders against USA, but I think they can get there. And I think it adds a little bit of colour to world rugby. And we all know that USA can get back there. Canada got a fair bit of work to do. Personally, I just think the game has dropped off in the last 20 years. I think they made a World Cup quarter final 30 years ago. So we've kind of dropped off a lot. But, of course, we've seen what's happened in Japan. That's made the game colourful. The Wallabies are playing there next week. We'll talk about that next week. But, the All Blacks finished their prep this side of the Southern Hemisphere with to party with the Panthers for about 3 days straight. So I don't know what the connection is, but they were there when the Proven Summon trophy was broken. And they've headed off.
Sounds like I'm pointing out that some of the Crusaders do have history messing with trophies. So if there were any culprits, I'd be looking right in their direction first off.
I think Artie was there too. So I don't know, but he doesn't drop much. It had to be a Crusaders player.
Maybe George Bridge.
Maybe George Bridge. But anyway, they've headed over. So that's a little trip around the world. We'll get back to NPC now, Pat. Sorry, mate.
No, I'm thoroughly enjoyed that. Always, we'll have to make sure we do that all again next week because big week of international footy coming up next week. Got Scotland versus Tonga. Wales, plenty to get stuck into. So
plenty on.
To that. After long-time listeners of the podcast will fondly remember tour guide Nisbo telling us exactly what the trip was like from various random South African outposts to Dunedin or Queensland. So this is a very worthy follow-up to that segment.
Don't put me in the same breath as Nisbo. Thank you. He's a legend.
Moving swiftly along, might as well head back to these shores. We do have another great weekend of footy lined up. The weather around the country, I think, is going to be pretty good, and obviously daylight saving time now, so plenty more daylight footy to get stuck into. Unfortunately, 2 of the games have had to be moved due to the ongoing restrictions. So now we've got Northland taking on Otago in Rotorua on Friday evening, and Waikato Taranaki will be at, I think it's Tauranga Domain Saturday afternoon. But all 5 games still going ahead at the stage, which is great news. I know you were very keen on all 4 pluses last week, Fisky. I was pretty staggered to see a couple of these teams as bigger outsiders as they are when they opened up on Monday at least.
I'm with you. Talk me through the ones you love, but there's 3 on 3 I really, really like, but talk me through it.
Well, we might as well start in Rotorua on Friday night, right? Like last time we saw the Taniwha on the field, they were dealing to Waikato. And there was no fluke. It was like
I love this one. I don't
know what Otago have done to be.
Like we talked about last week. I think Otago were probably a 25 point worse team last weekend. I don't think they were in the game, and I didn't see anything that's going to change this week. Northland, we talked about it after the Manawatu game. I thought they actually lifted for that, and they've actually got some really decent forwards, the halfbacks going well, and they put it all together against a good Waikato side. I have no reason whatsoever that they can't back up a similar performance. Even if they're at 80% of that style of, or that level, I think they knock Otago off and possibly win 13 plus. I'm all over this. I cannot believe they're not pretty strong favourites, let alone 3.5 point outsiders.
Are you nodding your head in agreement there, Richard?
Yeah. I love Northland. Got a wee soft spot for the Taniwha, and they were sensational against Waikato in that game. And I think I had a wee look before. They've got a pretty good record against Otago. They've actually won 3 of the last 5 games against them, so it's not like history's sort of leaning towards their favour. They're not playing at home, but they're also not having to go down and play at Forsyth Bar. So I like that. And 3.5, plenty of points. I love that bet.
Yeah, the only negative I can think of for Northland sort of around that not playing at home is maybe trainings have been a bit interrupted this week because of the restrictions. But they've obviously got a really good team culture there, just from the way that the teams seem to be getting around each other in those 2 games earlier against Manawatu and the win over Waikato, which was amazing. Yeah, and Otago said sort of the opposite. They're just I haven't really been at the races a couple of games. So I don't think there's too much more to say on that game.
There's not. I just think this is a clear-cut wrong price. Do we have the bonus back for margins this week?
Yep, we do. Sure do. Definitely on all 4 competition games.
Yep. So I'm absolutely charging into a 13 plus here because I think they win. And worst case scenario, they win 1 to 12. I love this one.
$6.
I can see. What's this? Sorry.
I was going to say $6.
$6, mate. Love it.
Good. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. And I can see Otago dropping the bet if they do go down. I don't think Waikato came back into their game a couple of weeks ago. I'm not quite sure with Otago really struggling for form. If sort of Northland do get on top of them, it could be a real wipeout, like you say, they're Fisky. But talking about having the odds around the wrong way, they've come together a little bit now because the game's been shifted. But Taranaki opened up about $2.30 or something against Waikato. And like I've already said, I think Taranaki are the best team in the country. Are you blokes on the same page as me here?
Yeah, mate, I am. I'll just chime in quickly and then let Risie give it a good summary. But the only thing that will make me stop and think is Josh Lord. He'll be out this week, won't he? Because he got called up by the Blacks. That's probably the only change I can see. I'm loving what is it Potros, the 10, Jason, and Perifetta at fullback, and you now got Bashir playing some good minutes, mate. I'll let you take over, Risie, but another one where I think it's flipped the wrong way.
Yeah, no, completely with you there. Taranaki 5-0 this season. They've had 3 games against premiership teams and won all 3 of them as well. So they've proven they can sort of step up against that premiership competition. I was very surprised to see the odds open up. I'm not surprised to see it come in a little bit. But yeah, I'm happy to. Waikato coming off that loss to Northland, and I think they have a bye last week, did they? So it might be a bit underprepared. Love it.
Level 3 restrictions in Hamilton the last 2 weeks as well, so like that can't be easy for them.
The match is in Tauranga, but I don't think this is as crazy as the price in the Northland game. So I think Waikato are more than capable. They're a decent side. But
they did beat Tasman a couple of weeks ago, I suppose.
Yeah,
so they have it in them, but
I don't think this is a crazy one, but it's one where I still thought Taranaki would be 1 or 2 point favourites. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would have had it around the other way. I think if someone had said to me a team's opened up 3.5 point favourites, I'd say it's got to be Taranaki. Like they haven't lost. They've been putting scores
and they showed some grit last week. They probably weren't at their best, but they just sort of did enough. And as you mentioned, Potros before, he had some beautiful touches that set up a couple of those tries. They'll be looking for that. But
Tay Walden's been a great leader in that midfield as well. So while Josh Lord's obviously a big out, I think they probably can replace him. He's still pretty young. Got a really experienced pack, like guys like Bashir and Sawakula, who's just dominant at this level. So to me, that's another one where I didn't have to think too long about where I was landing. Head down to the Great Orange Theory Stadium Sunday, 4:35 p.m. Canterbury currently $1.56 favourites. They've actually been backed in. I think they opened $1.76. Hawke's Bay now out to $2.30. Richard, where are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Canterbury they'll be kicking themselves for that, like that game last week. They were losing that game last week. As I said, they sort of looked pretty. I mean, they went down. They were down by a lot, but then with 10 minutes to go, they had it in what you'd say in the bag. It just looked pretty comfortable. So Hawke's Bay, I mean, they were sensational last week. They helped in that first half in particular. But playing on the road, probably. So we've alluded to how good they are at home, but it's sort of on the road there. They did beat Wellington a couple weeks ago, but they haven't. I think they've only had a couple of games on the road this season. I'll probably be siding with Canterbury at home. They'll be desperate to get the win, but I mean, from what I saw last week, it's hard to go on with too much sort of confidence there. They're a bit all over the show.
I'll go in with plenty of confidence. I talked about it earlier, and I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to test my theory. I think Hawke's Bay really are putting a lot of work into their home games, and it's draining. And they have to back up next week against Waikato. And I didn't mention it in the Waikato preview. I think they might have one eye on next week. The Hawke's Bay. So I think Hawke's Bay, this is their off week. this is the week they decide to strengthen things up for their title defence the week after. I think Canterbury will win this 13 plus.
They do have a good record against Hawke's Bay. They've won 5 of the last 6 there. Against Hawke's Bay. So yeah, history is on their side in that respect.
This is pretty strong Hawke's Bay. I'm leaning the other way to you guys. I know the whole shield angle and you back the team with the shit back against them when they're on the road. But I said that, and then they went down to the Cape Town and did a job on Wellington. I just think this Canterbury team's not very good. If it was they were wearing any other colour apart from red and black stripes, this game would be even money. But Canterbury made very hard work of beating Manawatu at home a few weeks ago. I can see all your hand signals. Are you landing a plane in your living room or something, Fisky?
I'm absolutely disregarding everything you're saying. I think you're reading into it, mate. I think they'll rest a few players too. I think the Canterbury game was the Wellington game was a bit different. They had a week off following that. It's a bit early in the season. It's now they know there's an end date. They know what they're working towards. There's only a few more they've got to get through at home. And I thought they actually, like we said, they were a little bit flat last week at times, and I think it's getting to them. I think they need to use these weeks to freshen up, and they will. I think this is just, I'm not saying Canterbury great, but I think they'll take advantage of this.
Well, I'll happily take the plus 4.5 myself.
The beauty of punting, the beauty of NPC, and the beauty of sport is one of us will be right and one of us will be wrong on Saturday evening, and we can move on from there.
But Canterbury, they had 3 wins this season. They've been very, very ugly. They obviously had their extra time win over Southland, the win over Waikato, and then the 3-point win versus Manawatu. So yeah, it could be a good little bonus bet 1-12.
They haven't beaten a team by more than 3 points all season, and they're 4.5 point favourites against team who's top of the ladder.
It'll be tight, but yeah, I think Canterbury will do the job. Yeah. But maybe the points start. Hawke's Bay.
The good thing for the content gods is there's plenty of angles to get stuck into on either side, so we're all going to be just steaming into one side or another.
There's only one angle. There's only one angle. It's Canterbury.
I'll refer you back to a conversation we had over text about 20 minutes before the Wellington Hawke's Bay game when you were asking about the weather in Wellington.
Okay.
It was a 13+ day.
Yeah, it's just the wrong team.
All right, and final competitive game of the weekend is in Palmerston North at the Boneyard on Sunday evening. The Wellington Lions, we've touched on plenty there, heading up Ohio 1, then taking a little turn off just before they get to Levin. Against a Manawatu team, I'm hoping have Aaron Smith back this week. The bookies don't seem too concerned though. They've still opened Wellington up as pretty comfortable favourites. It was 8.5 the line when the fixture was first announced. That has come in a little bit. Manawatu now the other just under 2, the $3 mark. They were 270 head to head, plus 5.5 the point start. I'll let you guys get stuck into this one first because I'm not really sure how to feel against either team after watching those 2 games on the weekend. Fisky, you seem to be on a bit of a heater.
I was going to say, Risie, we might just take a knee and let Pat give us a 20-minute preview. He's got this big grin on his face. He's loving life. Are you going to be trackside, Pat?
No, unfortunately, I was all set to go to Livermore, so I'm up in the bay for the weekend. But me and Paul Moati might be having a reunion at the Thirsty Whale or something to watch the game.
Yeah, or Turks in Havelock North. Who knows? But I think I'll take a back seat here. I'll just watch the game with interest. I kind of line it up just about where it is, not knowing if Smith's playing. If pushed, I want to be on the home side. The baby brothers with the plus there. It's not just the Aaron Smith show. I love Brett Carrick. He's a great footballer. I really do. He's a classic 10. He'll knock the points over when he needs to, but he's got a great kicking game in general play. Probably talk myself into the plus here. Wellington are hit and miss. If there's a try there for them, they'll take it, but they're not going to work overtime to stop them either. So I think Manawatu are way more rounded at this stage of the season. And, I think it's a really competitive game. It's going to be a great Saturday night.
Yeah, no, I think it should be a lot of fun. Where are you leaning betting-wise, Richard, if you were going to have a punt?
If I was going to have a punt, their plus 5.5 is looking very juicy. Wellington, very hard to you know, like, I mean, they could win by 20 or they could lose by 20. It'd be hard to take them plus 5.5. They haven't been great away from home this season. I think they're 0-3, and Manawatu have actually been great. Won all 3 games at home. Yeah. So, I mean, on that alone, I'm happy to take the plus 5.5. And if I was to have a bonus back bet, I'd potentially, go turbos 1-12. Might be probably, I'll just have a quick look at what the odds are. But yeah, I think they'll be more than good enough to sort of, withstand the challenge of the Lions coming into town. Manawatu 1-12, 420. Oh, meant to be.
And Patrick, you wanna get off your turbo picket fence? Like, which way are you leaning, mate?
You got your bucket hat under your desk?
I did. No, the bucket hat's still down in Palmy, unfortunately. I did look when it was 8.5. I was surprised to see Manawatu as such big underdogs when the odds opened. I do think there's not as much between these two teams. But just having watched that game against Southland on Sunday afternoon, if Manawatu give Wellington that sort of ball in those areas against a team that has Peter and Jensen and Vince Arso and actual strike weapons, they'll be down by a lot more than they were against Southland. That's my concern as a Manawatu fan. But then on the other hand, we've talked about what Wellington like as big favourites. I have no faith in the Lions to sort of put the foot on the throat and run away with the game. Like, they'll get 14-0 up, 17-0 up, and then get bored and start watching the turbines or making plans for after the game or something. So I think it's a game with a massive range of outcomes. If I was going to have a bet, especially with the bonus backing play, I might go just Wellington 13 plus at 250. I just think Wellington have the horses, right? Like, even if Aaron's back, Manawatu's weakness is very much their tight 5, and if they just get out muscled there and Wellington dominate a game and they've got the strike power, hopefully, I think it's going to be a pretty decent evening. But I think Manawatu could use another cyclone like the one that was going on when they were playing Northland at the game. But yeah, that being said, I'll probably just stay away. And I do think Manawatu are good value at the plus 5.5. But it's anything could happen in this. Like, would you be shocked if either team won by 20? I think one of you has already said that could happen, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. But I just think you're setting us up here. This Wellington 13 plus talk. I don't know who you're trying to fool, mate. I'm not buying it.
No, I might be trying to set up a few supercharger challenges with various personalities in the Wellington region. So
yeah, I actually think it'll be a really, really tight contest, and I'm pretty sure that Manawatu have. I'm pretty sure what they're going to bring. I think they're very reliable. There's not a lot of difference between their best and worst games this year. And that to me just means you stick with them. Whereas Wellington, they probably can play a lot better, but more than likely can play a lot worse than Manawatu. So I'll definitely lean to that plus.
Yeah, no, I do. I certainly think the Turbos are a live chance, and they're every chance of rolling the Lions here. So 270 in the plus 5.5 wouldn't talk you out of it. Can confirm as well, Paul Moari shared over at Tiki Masali yesterday afternoon that he was also surprised to see the Lions as such big favourites. So he's been pretty spot on at reading the Turbos so far this year. If you're wanting to follow any Paul's mail, I don't have much more sensible information he passed on this. So I'll leave it there. Might as well. Just for the punters, there is this non-championship game between Tasman and Bay of Plenty, which is essentially a friendly. It's just keep the teams ticking over. I don't know if you guys wanted to touch on it much betting wise. I kind of think it's a stay away. Just Tasman in particular, I imagine are going to take the opportunity to rest a few bodies after that pretty fiscal last week.
I wrote down just Bay of Plenty plus 8.5.
Are we betting?
Yeah. We do have 8.5. There is the NPC bonus back if you want to get stuck in.
I just want to it is. I just want to talk to, and apologies if I mispronounced the name or anything. I saw I think he played for Tasman on the weekend. The winger looked like Fijian heritage. Tavanawe, I think, for Tasman.
Yeah, on the right wing, was he?
Yeah, I think he caught about 5 high balls on the full in a row, like at pace. Really skillful footballer, and I don't know where he's come from. I haven't seen a lot of him, but really impressed. So keep an eye on him.
He did stand out. Tasman have done a great job, actually. I don't know if it's an Elton College connection or something, but I know that's how they got the Whanganukus and Shannon Frizzell as well. So they've done a great job of getting talent out of the Pacific Islands.
I was actually blown away. I was blown away. I thought he was looked like a really good footballer, and like all facets of the game. Strong runner, made a few decent tackles. They did score hands win a couple of times, but he's under the high ball, especially attacking high balls. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, but no, if I was going to have a bet on this game, which let's be honest, I probably am, because there's no NRL or UFC to distract me on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah,
so,
it's about all that's on Sunday.
Yeah, maybe the 3 or 5 for Bay of Plenty. Just if both teams aren't really that into it, Bay of Plenty probably need to win a bit more than Tasman the way they've been tracking the last few weeks. So, yeah, I don't know, but as a betting proposition, largely I tend to stay away from friendlies. So that'll be my. All right, should we just give our best bets for the punters and we can get out of here? All right, we'll start with the best bet for the round. Fisky, I have a fair idea where you might be going with this. What's your best bet?
I was always going to do a multi of all the ones I love, but I think Northland. I'll take the plus, but I'm going to be backing them head to head. I'm going to be taking them 13 plus. But to start with, the best bet of the round, Northland plus 3.5.
Nice one, Richard.
We don't have the lineup yet, but I want to go the over in the Wellington Manawatu game. There's just been plenty of points. I mean, I wrote down before Wellington's games this season: 65 points, 65, 59, 58, 80, and 61. The Turbos haven't been too bad as well: 65, 41, 50, 47, 58. So I'm not sure exactly what the line will be, but I'm going to get on it whatever it is, because I think there'll be I think there'll be plenty of points in this game, and it's been kind of a pretty the trend in the whole tournament, really. There's been plenty of very high scoring games. So I think
on that point, I saw it was 48.5 on Sunday in Invercargill. I know traditionally it's a graveyard for points, but it was a beautiful day, and once I turned it on, so I'm on the over here, and it just flew over.
I think NPC the last couple of years has been a great tournament to be punting over. So there's maybe not every game, but there's always those 3 or 4 games around it. So you look up and turn around and there's 70 points in them or something. So certainly wouldn't talk you out of that. And of course, it'll be a lovely evening in the great city of Palms North on.
It will be no rain expected. A bit of wind, but
northerly breezes, but that's about it. So I, for my best bet, nothing too complicated. Taranaki head-to-head, best team in the country, just back them.
Nice.
Yeah, not
good.
Bit of value for the punters, Fisky.
Yeah. I'll steer clear. I don't want to sound like a broken record and tip you into Northland derivatives, head to head and whatnot. So I think my value play for the weekend will be Taranaki as well, and we'll take the head to head, which is odds against Waikato. Not as bullish as Northland, but Taranaki in my mind should be around the $1.55 mark in my view. So anything over $2 is good. And what are we getting? About $2.10, $2.15, Paddy?
Yeah, it's coming in a little bit. It's actually only $1.92 now because they've had the shift in venues to.
Is that what it is now? No, I'll flip it. I don't think the value is quite there. I'll go Northland. I'll go Northland head to head. What are we getting there? 2.30.
2.30.
Yeah. No, let's be fair. We've got to take the value where it exists. So Northland 2.30.
Right. And you, Richard?
I've got a little head-to-head multi. Northland Taranaki at $4.41. I just think that a couple of good bets there, and very, very nice price.
Cool. I'm going. You guys aren't going to like this. Hawke's Bay 1-12. I think if they do win down south, which I think they're a great shout out, I can't see them blowing Canterbury away. Getting $3.75 for that. That's great value. It's the right side to be on. So I'll be on that. How about, obviously we've been touching on it plenty, but just to make the punters fully aware, NPC bonus bet running on all 5 games this week, which is place a pre-match winning team and margin bet on any of the games, and if your team wins but by the wrong margin, we'll refund you up to $50 as a bonus bet. Yeah, Paul Mighty special this one. If you haven't won bonus bet this weekend, Rissy, what is it?
Yeah, everyone to 12. Sorry, Patrick.
It's fine. You can bet
$3.
Fun.
$3. Yeah, I don't think they'll win by a lot, but I do think they'll win.
And for you, Fisky, you got a favourite bonus bet?
Fisky, I'll take your Canterbury 1-12 and I'll raise it to 13 plus. So I'll be playing this game 100% for my bonus bet. I'll be on Canterbury 13 plus. I think it'll hover in that 7-point margin for most of the match, and then they'll clear out. So I've got no fear that they lose, and So I think I'm going to get bonus bet regardless. What price is he? 13 plus?
I'd have a look now. $3.10.
Yeah, 310 for me.
You guys know it's not 2002, right? Richie McCaw's not walking through that door.
Okay.
I've touched on my
Is
bonus.
Mylock still there? Is he still
No,
playing?
he's on the plane with Josh Lord.
Oh, he's gone. Of course, yeah.
Didn't help him last week, did he?
No, it was good to see him. Good to see him back in the.
Yeah, it was good. 82 minutes straight off the bat. Hell of an effort from my bonus bet beat Wellington 13 plus. I could see them if things go badly, blow the Tubos out. So
Yeah, I'm not buying it.
all right. And you did say before, Fisky, that there was a few options you were keen to chuck in a multi, and we've got another promotion going on that could line that up very nicely. Actually, we don't. Sorry, cancel that. It's not on the punch lounge here, so I might have to. Yeah, good preparation as normal. But if you were in a multi, you seem to be pretty keen on one anyway. What's your anchor that's running through all your multis?
Yeah, I'd have Northland plus as my anchor, but I'll just tell you it now. Like, I'm pretty confident. I'd be all of them at the handicap. Northland, Taranaki, Canterbury, and Manawatu. That's my multi for the week.
Nice one. And Risie, do you have a multi anchor or a multi?
Yeah, gone to the Taranaki match, Taranaki Waikato, to the alternative point starts. Taranaki plus $9.5, 31. So I can't see if Waikato won. I can't see it being by more than a couple of points. So I mean, at $1.30, very happy to take that as an anchor.
Yeah,
I'm going with a bit of curveball for my multi-anchor. I'm heading to the Heartland Championship. Got some nice winnings in my pocket from Whanganui getting the job done last week. South Canterbury are $1.50. They're down in Oamaru against North Otago. Now, South Canterbury have played 4 games this season, 1 all 4 with a points difference of plus 173. North Otago have been all right, but they're not on any near the level of same. South Canterbury, $1.50 is silly money for that one. Get on the -5.5 and the 13 plus as well while you're at it, punters.
Where is it? Is it in Oamaru?
Yeah, Oamaru.
Yeah.
Nice little regional rivalry there. But yeah, South Canterbury have been on fire. I chucked them in a multi with Whanganui last Saturday afternoon. It was great.
Big match for Waimate. It's right on the South Canterbury. Yeah, it's right on the sort of border of the two. It's like the Waimate fans, and I know I had a friend who's from Waimate, and it's like half the town supports Crusaders, half the town supports the Highlanders. So I'm sure there'll be a big night on Waimate.
My mum was actually born in Temuka, which isn't far from there as well. So I'll have to get your thoughts on the game as well.
Good subway there.
Right.
Oh, you could be the master of the Heartland Championship, Pat. I'm going to follow you in here, mate.
All right, yeah, get on. I'll do a bit more study and see if there's any other numbers I like after I log off. But last tip I'll get from you boys before I let you go. No teams out, unfortunately, at time recording. But is there anyone you're liking for a chance of going down over the weekend, Fisky?
Look, it's not even a game that counts, but the winger for Tasman, if they give him another run, Tava Nawe. If we're betting on that market, I hope we are. I'd take him to score a try. Really like the look of him, and should be a pretty open game on Sunday in Nelson. So that'll be my pick. And Rene Ranger in the Northern game, he was on fire last match.
So good against Waikato,
yeah. Why not? Yeah, why not? I'll back him when the markets come out on that one too.
And you you got anyone?
He's already been mentioned on the podcast. But I think the way he's playing at the moment, Peter Omanga Jensen scored 3 tries in 3 games so far this season. Scored a double last week against Canterbury, and obviously that match winner in extra time. But it's I think Fisky was alluding to earlier. He's just been the first defender and just looks so dangerous with ball in hand. So
there's a little bit of Steve Renouf about him, I think, like the old Broncos legend. He's just got a great fend. He accelerates at the exact right time. Just when he's getting into the point of contact, he'll accelerate because he's not overly fast or overly big. He reads the game well, but accelerates at the exact right time and combines it with a nice fender. He's just a natural footballer.
Yeah, I really like what you said about the reading the game there. His combination he had going with Nani Lamape and Super Rugby Aotearoa last year was great. And a big part of that was him reading Nani's runs and getting on the end of offloads and things. So, yeah.
And what happened from there, Patrick?
My try score bet this week is...
I think I might know who it might be.
Paul Moati's not here. Someone's got to do it. Ash Dixon.
Oh, okay.
Canterbury couldn't stop a rolling maul against Wellington. Now it's stopping one against Hawke's Bay.
Yeah, fair enough. I thought you might be going for Banganuku again.
Yeah, I was
We let you
thinking
down last week.
just surely they give him a week off. He was about
Yeah,
their
it's
only
true.
attacking strategy in the final third. There was where's Leicester? Got to
Yeah.
chuck him the ball. Maybe he's been carrying the team for a couple of weeks now. Give him the poor bloke a week off. He should be in the US with the All Blacks, but that's a different story.
Yeah, we'll touch on those games next week. Should be
Yeah.
great international round of footy next week.
Big weekend footy. Might even drag Paul Moati back from the Hastings Racecourse to join us again this week.
Give him a few days to dry out, please.
We'll need to, yeah. Plenty to get stuck in between now and then. Hopefully enjoy all the footy. I'm looking forward to a great Saturday footy and it's Friday night as well back in Northland. So thanks very much for all your time, Risie and Fisky. It was great having you both back on. Hopefully we can do it all again next week for the punters.
Good to be here. Thanks, Patrick.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, team. Have a good weekend.